All right, welcome to another episode of the EsportsNext podcast. It is my pleasure to be joined alongside with my co-host, the lovely Megan Van Petten, founder of the Esports Trade Association. Today we have a special guest, Shereen L. Domeiri. Shereen, you are an owner and attorney at your own law firm. You're sponsoring the elevator pitch at EsportsNext, and you are the co-chair of the Dallas chapter for ESTA. Could you do a little more to support the association?
I know. I was wondering the same thing.
Thank you for being here.
I'm pretty sure I could. I would love to. I'm looking forward to coming to EsportsNext and just soaking it all up. It's going to be amazing.
For attitude.
Megan's favorite word is yes.
It is.
So be careful what you say around her. But I am so thrilled to have you on the show today, Shereen, and feature you to our audience. You're somebody who I greatly respect. We cross paths quite often in Dallas, and doing the different things with ESTA. Why don't you tell people first? Tell people about what you do with your law firm, and then we'll get into these other parts of your journey.
Yeah, that would be great. So I specialize in business law for startups, small and mid-sized companies. I also have a focus area in data protection and privacy. So I do a lot of that work as well, and have been following kind of some of that in the esports and how that intersects, which often does, and with children, so children's data. So I've been able to help a few folks here in the Dallas area with kind of getting their organizational documents, like really focusing on some legal operational stuff so that they have good foundation for their business. So I like to tell people that, your business is built on relationships, and all the types of documents that I work on, contracts, your policies, procedures, they're all about framing those relationships, setting expectations, and really helps businesses, grow and are able to flourish that way when they have that foundation.
Well, I can also imagine being, a small business. Sometimes it's that perception, right? You're trying to create the perception that you are a real business and getting your clients to take you seriously. I could imagine that one of those ways is, just having all your documents in like ducks in a row, right? Very, very professional. Obviously, you want to have your I's and T's crossed when it comes to doing business with everyone, but correct me if I'm wrong, but the first thing that pops in my head is like, man, I'm starting a business. I need to be taken seriously. I need to look like a business person. One of the things you're offering is that level of credibility.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, and I've also been talking with other folks, like when they get ready to exit their business, if you don't have a lot of these documents and policies and procedure, it can affect your value as well. So you're right. Like having things in a row makes you look really professional, polished. When you're dealing with your vendors or you're dealing with counterparties, having a really good contract in place and knowing that you're protected and that it has all the terms that you need is really helpful. So that's what I try to tell folks when they're in business. There are a lot of things out there that you can do yourself, but I do not recommend this because there are some things that you might miss. And then unfortunately, in my field, most people call us when there's a problem, and it is exponentially more expensive and time consuming and dramatic, sometimes really dramatic, if you wait till there's a problem. So I try to focus on proactive. We can't prevent all the problems, but we can definitely lessen the risk and reduce some of that drama.
That's interesting. That's wonderful that you're helping people with that. Obviously, I'm sure you can help people in all sorts of different industries because every small to mid-sized business has these needs. How did you first become aware of esports and that you, with your law practice, had a fit within this growing dynamic industry?
Well, the good thing is that I do try to keep up with the news. So I was aware when the stadium came to be in Arlington, the esports stadium in Arlington. So I heard all that buzz. The University of Texas at Dallas, with their team, and they've had some really good K through 12 coding and esports camps for many years. So I was very familiar with what was going on there. And then how I learned about y'all was through Danny Martin. He was at a career day at my son's middle school, And I got to meet him during the break, and he told me all about it and what he was doing, which I just think is amazing. That scholastics piece, showing people the pathway to STEM who, they don't have those people in their lives, might not have those people, don't even know what the realm is. And so he was like, you need to contact the Esports Trade Association. And I did that immediately. That was like right as we're coming out of the pandemic. So, and got connected with you and spoke with Megan. And I've just had such great experiences with the virtual coffee connections. I'm so glad that we could do those in person.
Yeah, IRL.
Yeah, in real life, that was so much fun. And it's just so interesting, all the different types of folks that you meet, not just the teams, the competitors, but all the support that's out there, like Fit Gamer, what Danny's doing with Exposure, like just all these different facets, and it's just been amazing.
Well, I absolutely love the diversity of our community, not just in the ways we typically refer to it, but also from a business sense. And it's so fantastic, as you mentioned. We've got people who are with teams and leagues, and we've got people who are with brands, and we've got Scholastic, and we have people like yourself, and it just creates this beautiful ecosystem where people can work together, and that's a big part of it. Megan, a question for you: how did that first phone call go when Shereen picked up the phone and said, "Domeiri Law speaking, may I speak with the founder?"
Well, I'll tell you, I get a lot of calls from attorneys. Attorneys are always looking for.
Is this a personal or a professional?
No. I'm always like in the trade association sector. Attorneys love it because it's a very legit business formation typically, and attorneys like to be part of things that are legit. So I get, we could be, if we wanted, just an association of attorneys. That's how many attorneys call. So Shereen was different because we talked and she was thinking about her brand the first time we talked, what she would call it. And I was like, oh my God, I could tell on the phone that she was just a woman of service and leadership. She had been a judge, and she loves the word yes, for real. Like Shereen just walks the walk. And I'll never forget thinking, man, if this woman starts a law firm, it's going to be successful because she's heart-centered.
You're right.
A year later, it was at least a year later, she calls me up and she's like, I'm doing it. And I'm like, no way, you're in.
Super cool.
And then I was like, all right, I've got a whole bunch of plans. And she said, I'm going to be in Chicago. And then that was history. So we met for coffee for real. And, I couldn't be more excited for Shereen as a woman law firm, as a judge, as a community service, heart-centered woman, that just does the good work that we need when we call attorneys. I have called her with a few things as my counselor. That's what attorneys are. They're our counselors, they're our partners, they're our friends, they're our board members, they're our leaders, our civic leaders. So I couldn't be more excited.
That's so nice.
I have Shereen's cell phone number just written in permanent marker right here. When they say, John, you get one call. Pick up that phone, Shereen, even if it's not a saved number, please.
I mean, even if I can't help you, I will know somebody who can help you. So, and that's, part of why you should have somebody in your circle who can do that for you. So,
and build the relationship when you don't need the relationship.
Right.
For sure. Well, I'm curious, Shereen, being an entrepreneur who's helping entrepreneurs, how has starting your own business helped you help your clients even better now that you're kind of walking that same entrepreneurial path with them rather than just being purely on the legal side?
Yes. I mean, it has been really eye-opening. I mean, I spent most of my career, as Megan said, in the public sector and then in-house counsel. So working with large companies where, once I was there, I was doing the work. So starting out on my own, I've had to learn a lot about running a business. So I'm always grateful to know some folks here in the Esports Trade Association who can guide me. I'm doing a lot of stuff with other entrepreneurial groups. So, this whole journey that I'm going on, and Megan had kind of alluded to it, but like a branding journey. So I have some thoughts about rebranding, going with a trade name, growing, providing more services. So that is all in the works. And I can't wait for myself to get there. That's my 2024 goal. So, a few more months of going through this process. But it has been helpful. Like I remember, especially on this data privacy piece, which I used to counsel, and I'd call the IT department and be like, so these are all the things that you need to do. And then when I was doing it for myself, I was like, oh, so I have to do this. And who do I call now, right? Like, who's my IT
Right.
department? Who?
Plumber's faucet's always leaking.
Right. So I had to figure all that out. So now I'm like, oh, now I actually have people that I can refer to some of the other businesses. Like, oh, if you need an IT professional, this is who can help you on a fractional basis. I've met a lot of different experts that are, on the fractional side. So fractional CFOs, fractional HR, like a lot of resources that are really helpful for businesses, because, when you're starting out, you can't afford to do all those things.
That's right.
Most likely, I'm starting out as a one-person show. I have a few folks on my team that are fractional, right?
Sure.
So still trying to build that up. So I understand that pain point. And then I understand also that pain point of, where do you invest to help yourself grow and what makes the most sense moving forward, which is why kind of the way that I structure, the way that I do my business, and try to make sure that folks know what the fees are up front so they can budget for that and grow into what they need to do from a legal perspective, and what's urgent and what we can work on in a longer term.
I heard you on the rebrand, the considering, and I'm,
Yes.
I do a little branding in my work. And so which is going through my head here for your company, Domeiri Law, if you just added company, I mean, I've got a logo,
nice.
I've got hats, DLC, Domeiri Law Company. I mean, something
to think about. Okay.
Yeah, I've got some branding already set up for you. There's
I could just do an ampersand council, Domeiri Law and Council.
Boom. I think we
Boom.
figured it out. DLC round 2. One thing that I would love to have you share with our audience about, you are the co-chair of our Dallas chapter. For those who are listening, and we have been growing our chapters like crazy. Megan can give the official stat on globally how these are growing, but can you share a little bit from your inside perspective, from your experience of how to start an ESTA chapter, and what is it like? What do you have the opportunity to do for the community, and what are the benefits of starting a local ESTA chapter?
Yeah, well, thankfully, I was not the one who started it from scratch. So, we had somebody who shared that, Jonathan Jordan, earlier, and I did go to those events, right? Like, I thought that was really great to try and do events that highlighted the industry. Like, I think we had one at SMU that had some, a panel with pro players and the professor there. So that was really great, because you got to learn a little bit more about the industry and what was going on behind the scenes and at the university level. Just getting to know people in real life, connecting with people here who were either members or interested, has been really good. And as I've moved into this chair position, really getting to know what members are looking for and how we want to grow. So that's been kind of where I've started, and trying to, and then of course, just starting those in-person events, right? When we had the high school competition and Megan came down here, I was like, shouldn't we do a real life coffee connection? And that was really great. And I think for DreamHack with our New York chapter, who coordinated that with all the folks that were here, that was amazing. And I could just see like the synergies of all these people coming together. So we're hoping to build that. We're trying to build up some benefits. I did speak with some of our members about what they're looking for. So when I get to conference, I would love to hear from other chapters what they're hearing from their members, and then really try to build out what that's going to look like what kind of benefits can we provide, how can we support some of our local competitive teams, how can we support some of our local scholastics teams, right, our college
Yeah.
and our high school teams, how can we make access to sponsorships for those teams, because that was another way I got involved was sponsoring my local high school team, so they could go to nationals, right? So
Yeah.
those
And
are all
how
the
cool is
things
that?
that we're looking to, and then just trying to get together a little bit more often. I think since it's so hot this summer, like I'm really looking at next quarter for a few get-togethers, because it's just
Yeah.
burning. It's like hotter than hell down here in Dallas right now.
I'm not touching grass because it's on fire, quite literally.
It's really hot. So
I'm touching the air
we'll hope to
conditioning, turning it down. Yeah. keep going.
get together in the fall with another in-person event, and then maybe something in the year, and then really start to ramp those up in 2024 with more connections. And once I am able to build out that plan, I'm building out a board, so adding some more folks to the board as well, so that we have those different perspectives and can provide those different types of programming. So that's where we're going here in Dallas. And I know a lot of people look to us because I think we were the first chapter.
Yep. Inaugural. Yep.
Yeah, trying to make it a good flagship to continue to provide that support. But it's been awesome being on those chapter calls and learning from the other chapter chairs.
Right.
I mean, they are just doing phenomenal stuff, and some
They
of them
are.
do not have the community that we have in Dallas. Like, I'm lucky, right? Like, there's already a set up community here. We have several teams. We have several game developers. Like, we just have a lot going on here. Production
Pretty good
companies.
spot.
We have a lot of stuff happening and a lot of support, where I know in some of the other cities, like, they're going to have to build that from scratch, and we'll have to help them figure out how to blaze their path.
Well, you touched on some fantastic points there, and a couple that stood out to me. You mentioned the high schools, and there's really two really beneficial and unique aspects of chapters. And it's the localization of it.
Yeah.
If you think about high schools are not getting national brands to sponsor their high school. You don't have enough reach. It's really kind of the goodwill of your heart as a brand to support a high school, right? You're not doing it for ROI, but you can really get down to the person, the level of the individual person. The other thing is, this is kind of a call out to brands who are more local. When you're looking for sponsorship opportunities in esports, get connected with the industry, the community, a lot of times the only opportunities are global or national. And you may be a local business that doesn't have that reach. If somebody in New York learns about your brand, it doesn't matter today, right? But you can sponsor your local chapter, get involved that way, and not just generate awareness, but really generate deep relationships with people throughout the industry.
Yeah, I've run into some of like, my kids don't actually play on the high school team. Right? My oldest son is like anti-competition. But when I get to see some of his fellow classmates who are on the team, like when we were at TechSef, and just like letting them know that I was there to support them, like, they were just amazing. I mean, you could tell how excited they were to be there, how important it meant to them to be able to do that. And I just ran into a bunch of them, at the back to school event again, and
Oh, wonderful.
hearing about what they're ready to do for the new year. So it really is amazing, and opens up a lot of doors. And even for my son, I went back the next week after you guys. It was the college competition at the esports stadium in Arlington for CECC, and I got to meet Ray Katz. And when I told him that my son was more interested in the production side, he was like, well, is he coming? I drove home and picked him up and brought him back, and he got
cool.
and got a full tour of the stadium. He showed him the production room. They really had a great time. So for somebody who is probably not ever going to compete, like, they still watch the game, they all play the games, right? Like, they know what's going on, but not everybody wants to be on the stage. So being able to have that opportunity, and being able to have my son see what else he could do in an area that he loves, was really cool.
I love that.
It's been interesting too, John. Like, this year, I have had so many people ask if they could bring their kids.
Oh, cool. Well, I mean, I just love the fact that there are so many career opportunities around something that kids are so passionate about, right? I mean, my kid is the biggest gamer in the world. He's 8 years old. This kid will not shut up about Minecraft. Not that I
He totally
would
won't. It's
tell
the
him,
truth.
but
It's like from hello to goodbye and one more thing.
that's
One more,
right.
and he talks just like John. He's always got like one hand like going, and he's like, and another. You met him,
That's what
Shereen,
he told
at
me.
the
Yes.
your meetup.
That's
Yeah,
right.
he came through Johnny 2.0, got to introduce the next generation. But what's so cool, you know, a lot of people who are parents, you know, we're mindful of screen time, we're mindful of just digital stimulation all the time. But what's so cool and gives me a really positive outlook on my son's time and interest with things like Minecraft is, wow, just like traditional sports, you've got a whole industry here, whether you want to get into developing the games, whether you want to do production, you want to do marketing. You know, if you look at the three of us, we make a living around esports and none of us are on the stage, right? It's
Right.
because we touch different parts of this very diverse and deep industry. One more thing I want to get your take on here, Shereen, while we have you. Your time is so precious and valuable and limited, of course. You were the sponsor of the elevator pitch competition. The elevator pitch competition is one of the premier moments at EsportsNext. And Megan, this is your brainchild. I got to give you all the credit. You've been doing this for years before ESCA. Can you give us, before Shereen shares a little bit about her integration with it, can you tell our audience what is the elevator pitch competition and why should they be excited about it?
Yeah, it's a show. It's based on a show, Shark Tank, which I remember the first time I saw the show, and I thought, we got to bring this to the corporate sector. I want to bring this to the conference. And at that time, I worked at the Fantasy Sports Trade Association, and I pitched it to that board, and they said, let's do it. And it's an opportunity like no other, because when you're pitching, you're not asking really for money as much as you are collaborating with community and letting them know what you need. And there's so many more opportunities than anyone would imagine when they get off the bench on the court and they hold that microphone in their hand. And this year we're doing it different because Shereen's
Tell me how, Megan.
I will. Shereen's co-sponsor, Kevin Vella, was like, let's shake it up. And now this year we're doing 5 minutes to pitch, 5 minutes, which probably will go by with a blink, and then 5 minutes for all of the judges to give feedback, just like the tank. So Kevin's like, let's do tank. Cool. Let's really do it. So there's really that tank experience, and they're going to be on the stage, the judges, not like the whispering, mysterious VCs.
Right, in the front row. And
part of the Twitch programming.
Part of the whole experience. Awesome.
And that's right. Oh man, was I excited about that. Kevin Vella has sponsored the original Shark Tank I did for so long, and he's coming here to help us kick it up. And he's never done it this way either. So it's a really good, diverse group of judges. We have Rohan Bose, who came from the original Shark Tank. What did they do? He did the evaluation. Did he do the
evaluations?
Yeah, the valuations. Yes. Yeah.
Which is huge. I mean,
oh my God. Like, here's the documents you need for a yes. You want a yes? Right.
Yeah.
And right. And I think maybe the decks he might help with, you know, and then obviously Bella is also in Dallas, which is wildly awesome.
I know, we're a trifecta. It's pretty awesome.
It's a great, it is the most exciting Shark Tank I've ever done. I still forever will call it Shark Tank, even though
you shouldn't, but that's okay.
And I've been threatened heavily by Cuban.
So stop it.
IP, we know all about IP issues in esports.
Well, I'm calling it a competition, a pitch competition, which I think is amazing, right? You know, I have been fortunate to be able to do that in my career in different organizations, and just having the opportunity to appear in front of your peers and get feedback is going to be so valuable. I'm so excited to hear like what is the next innovation, right? Like I can't even, I like cannot
Absolutely.
even wait to find out what those are. And because I know they're going to be amazing.
Yeah.
Blind
Well,
blown at some point.
I learned just as much from the people pitching as I do the judges asking the questions,
Yeah.
because you really understand how knowledgeable someone is by the questions that they ask. And so when these judges like yourself, Shereen, a judge in more than one sense of the word,
Yeah.
uh, actually, you should bring your robe and the gavel. Just a thought.
That was,
But
I do have both of those things, but I
Yeah.
don't grapple with them.
don't rule it out. But to hear, these questions that I've never thought about with my business experience, yeah, just I'm curious of your thoughts of being on that side of the whole thing and evaluating these brands.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really fun. Like I said, I actually recently went through this for myself, so that was really helpful. And and I just came from another conference where there was something similar where the judges gave feedback. So I'm excited about that. I do have a disadvantage in that, yes, I have been a practicing judge before. So really thinking about how people present themselves. Did they get the
Right.
message? Was there a better way that they can say things? And then what my impression is. I'm excited to be able to provide that feedback. I'm happy to do it. I do a lot of mentoring as well, so would love to be able to do that for these folks who were gonna, because I know it's going to be nerve-wracking. Like I've been on the other side as well, where I had to present in front of a full
Sure.
room with a judge, right? And be like, please God, don't say something stupid. So first of all, I would just like to tell all of them, if this comes out before, that you're going to do a great job. Just we're people just like you, just tell us your story and we will be happy to provide you tips to make it even better the next time you do it.
Well, one major difference from your previous judgeships is no one will be in handcuffs, that I know of. That we're hoping that's the case. So that'll be a major difference. Feel free to shout out objection. And you're not. Wait, that's the lawyer,
I
not
I
the.
will have my serious face on. You guys might not have ever seen it. My serious concentrating face on. So
Yeah.
'cause I really want to pay attention. And
I've seen it. I've seen you. I mean, you're a judge, I've definitely seen I probably have seen that more than I've seen, your hospitality face. I think you're a natural born judge. Think of that personality profile. I think you're the perfect judge.
well, thanks. I
You're
hope
welcome.
people who show up in the court, I occasionally do hang out in the city of Dallas Municipal Court. So
Yeah,
hopefully they feel that way. I try not to upset everyone, but the law
totally.
is what it is.
It is what it is. And then there's just like justice and fairness and considerations and,
Yeah, but I'm excited about it. I think it's going to be amazing. And I know those
Yeah.
people are going to come with their best. They're going to try their best and they are going to be excited to get the feedback because,
Absolutely.
we always, all of us, right, who are in business and we're trying to get to the next level, we're all looking for that piece of feedback. What do I need to do next? How can I make it better? How can I get to this next level? So
Mhm.
I'm really excited to be a part of that. Like as we started this whole thing out, like this is what I built my law firm on,
Yeah.
is being able to do that for people. And then also receiving it from other professions like what you do, John, and all the other folks that are in the support industry as well. So I think it's going to be great. And I really am just so excited about it. I can't contain
Absolutely.
myself.
What'd you say?
I said I can't contain myself. I'm like really excited about what it's going to be like.
Don't try to contain yourself. Just let out the
Let it out.
excitement.
Yeah.
That's what Wrigleyville is all for, actually. So are you going to be at the Cubs game?
I am going to be at the Cubs game. I'm coming early. And then I, will do the pitch. And then sadly, I got to get back for a back to school event because, I have a senior and a freshman this year. So it's really special. And
Oh,
I
cool.
have to
That
be
is
back.
special.
Well,
I
so
mean, the
on the
last
baseball
one-
field, the judge role is called an umpire. So just to
Thank you for
feel free
that
to use that
tip
one.
so that I know what's happening. I've actually never been to Wrigley Field.
Awesome.
We
You're gonna love
left Illinois when I was 3, so I grew up a Cubs and a Bears fan because my brother was really into them, but never been there. So I'm super excited about it, actually.
You're gonna
That's
like it.
wonderful. Well, to everybody who is listening, we just so encourage you to do a couple of things. Number one, come to the conference, hang out with Shereen, teach her, a little Chicago Cubs history, maybe, maybe some Wrigley Field trivia could happen. Also, if you are in Dallas, get involved with the Dallas chapter. You get to hang out with Shereen. It's kind of like
And
the best of
Mickey.
both worlds.
Oh, and Mickey, my co-chair, yes.
And Rohan just like always shows.
Rohan's always there. We have a lot of folks who always show up who are really cool to hang out with and just
You
good
do.
connectors.
It's a great group.
Freddie, who's really involved, is there most of the time. Yes.
Well, if it's not summer, Freddie has been MIA all summer.
Yeah. Well, and it's been really
Call
hot.
him out. This is
Well,
the call
you guys
out.
won't say anything, right?
Freddie, come back.
Right.
So for those who are listening, Shereen, to put a bow on this, how can people get involved and in touch with you, whether that's about the chapter or whether that's about their own business needs, and they really need somebody to guide them through those important principles that you provide?
Yeah, well, to get involved with the chapter, reach out to the ESTA. Once you reach out, you will see where we are. We do have a LinkedIn page as well that I think anybody can see, the ESTA Dallas chapter. And that's usually where we post most of our events. So that's a really great place. It's also a great place to see the LinkedIn lives and really see what the association is doing. So I encourage everyone to do that. If you want to contact me personally, I am happy to talk to you as well. And you can find me at Domeiri.com. So my name, which is spelled on the top, or I guess on this side, .com is my website, and my business number is 469-485-2500. Leave me a message and I'll be happy to call you back as soon as I can and give you all the information you need about being a part of the Esports Trade Association and joining our chapter.
Wonderful. And for just the audio listeners, Domeiri.com is DOMEIRI.com. So reach out to Shereen, whether you have needs, legal needs with your business, or you want to get involved with the ESTA. Shereen, thank you so much for your time today, and we can't wait to have you in person at EsportsNext.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm looking forward to seeing you both in Chicago soon.
Can't wait.